She didn't earn her way into Stuttgart. Let's be clear about that from the start. Alex got the call because someone else got hurt. Xinwen Zheng, the Paris Olympic gold medalist, pulled out with an elbow injury. Emma Navarro also withdrew. And just like that, a spot opened up in the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix draw, one of the most prestigious WTA events in Europe, and Alex slipped in ranked 45th in the world, a lucky loser replacement. No fanfare, no build-up, just a phone call and a flight to Germany. She then walked out in the first round against Leylah Fernandez and got beaten 6-1, 6-4. First set was practically a bagel. Fernandez led 5-0 before Alex could find her legs. Second set, she showed some fight, broke back to make it 4-5, saved a couple of match points, gave the crowd something to hold on to. But Fernandez closed it out. One ranking point, 13,000 euros from €1 million prize pool. On paper, a completely forgettable week. So why are we still talking about it? Because something happened in Stuttgart that had nothing to do with what occurred on the court, and the person who beat Alex couldn't stop talking about it afterward in a way that made the scoreline feel almost beside the point. Before a single ball was struck in that tournament, Alex walked into the Porsche Village fan event. Now, if you're not familiar with what that space is, it's not just some sponsor tent with a few branded backdrops. The Porsche Village is the social core of the entire Stuttgart week. It's where players meet fans, sign autographs, take photos, and the personality of the tournament actually comes to life. Steffi Graf walked through there. Martina Navratilova, Sharapova, Hingis. Nearly 5 decades worth of tennis royalty has passed through that space. It is not a place where just any player walks in and stops the room. Alex stopped the room. The tournament's own official social channels posted about it. They didn't just let it slide quietly into the background. They called it out publicly, announcing that Alex had the most sought-after autograph in the entire Porsche Village that day. Think about what it takes for an organization to make that call. These are people who have run this event for 48 years. They've seen everything. They don't post about autograph lines unless the demand is genuinely too big to ignore. And the player at the center of all of it had entered the draw as a replacement, had never competed at this tournament before, and was about to lose her first round match. Now, here's what makes this even more striking. This wasn't a random spike of attention with no history behind it. This had been building for months. At the Australian Open in January, Tennis Australia took public heat for putting Alex on Court 6, a small, intimate venue, when hundreds of Filipino fans had traveled to Melbourne and couldn't get inside. They ended up watching on a big screen outside. Novak Djokovic, 11 days into what was shaping up as a record attendance open, brought Alex up unprompted when he was asked about the tournament's energy. He said it plainly. She's coming from the Philippines, which is now a big deal. Djokovic doesn't hand out compliments like that to fill space. He means what he says. Then in Dubai, in February, Amanda Anisimova, ranked 6th in the world at the time, was asked about Alex after her own quarterfinal win. She didn't just give a polite one-liner and move on. She had voluntarily stayed at the venue after her own match to watch part of Alex's third round win against Veronika Kudermetova. She told the press room the atmosphere was amazing. A top 10 player, exhausted from her own match, choosing to stay and watch a rival play, and then going out of her way to tell journalists about it. That doesn't happen. Not on the WTA Tour, where schedules are brutal and recovery time is everything. So by the time Stuttgart arrived, Alex's cultural footprint had already stretched across 3 different continents. She didn't need to win the tournament to have a presence there. The presence showed up before she ever hit a ball. And none of that was more obvious than when Leylah Fernandez sat down for her post-match interview and started talking. Fernandez is worth understanding properly here because her reaction means more when you know who she is. She's 23. She reached the 2021 US Open final in one of the most electric Grand Slam runs in recent memory. She has 5 WTA titles. Her career best ranking is 13 in the world. She's half Filipino through her mother, born and raised in Canada, and she arrived in Stuttgart ranked 25th. She is not an easy opponent, and she is not someone who gets easily rattled. She beat Alex convincingly. The stats back it up. She won 63 of the 109 total points. Behind Alex's second serve, Fernandez was winning 61% of points compared to Alex winning just 40%. It was a professional, composed performance. And then she sat down in front of the microphones and completely disarmed herself. She was asked about the similarities between them, both left-handed, both attacking baseliners who like to come forward early and play fast. Fernandez said it felt like playing against a mirror. She said she just had fun figuring it out. But then she went somewhere unexpected. She brought up the Rafa Nadal Academy. She said she had watched Alex there years ago and had turned to her coach in that moment and said, "Wow, she plays quick." She remembered it specifically, a specific conversation with her coach, in a specific setting years before Stuttgart. She pulled that memory out in a post-match interview after beating Alex and offered it up as evidence of something she'd recognized a long time ago. You don't store that kind of memory about a forgettable junior. You don't reach back years into your mental archive and retrieve a specific sentence you said to your coach unless that player genuinely made your brain take notice. Fernandez was essentially admitting she'd been watching Alex for years and that what she'd seen had never really left her. And it didn't stop there. She also let slip something about the closing moments of the second set. When she was serving for the match at 5-4, her coach had to step in mentally at 0-30 and remind her that Alex wasn't going to go quietly. Her coach's message was essentially, "Don't think this is over. She's going to make you earn it." That is a remarkable detail. Fernandez was in the middle of winning a match she was clearly controlling, and her own coaching team felt the need to pump the brakes and remind her to stay locked in. A 6-1 first set can make a match look settled from the outside, when inside the arena, the tension is something different entirely. The fact that Fernandez needed that reminder tells you something about the pressure Alex generates even when she's losing. And through all of this, Fernandez was fully aware of what had been happening at the Porsche Village. She was at that tournament all week. She knew the autograph craze had gotten loud enough for the organizers to post about it publicly. She knew what kind of energy Alex had brought into Stuttgart before their match even began. She beat her anyway, and still couldn't discuss her afterward without her words filling up with something that sounded unmistakably like wonder. Alex herself had spoken earlier in the week in a sit-down WTA interview about what all of this feels like from the inside. She talked about the weight of carrying a fan base that flies across the world to watch her play. She described it honestly. She said it can be a lot. She said that without a clear sense of who you are and what she called a spoonful of gratitude, the attention can start to swallow you whole. That kind of self-awareness at 20 years old, in the middle of her first appearance at a 48-year-old tournament, entered as a replacement, is not nothing. She also talked about what it meant to be the first Filipino player ever to compete at the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix in its entire history. First, ever. In 48 years. She said she'd watched the tournament online for years before she got here. She described finally arriving in person as completing a puzzle, like the image she'd been looking at on a screen had finally become real and three-dimensional. That is a specific and careful way to describe a debut. Not relief, not nerves, not excitement alone. Completion. There's a clarity in that word that tells you something about how she processes moments that would overwhelm most people her age. After Stuttgart, Alex sits at 44th in the WTA Live rankings with 1,285 points. Her career high of 29th, reached after a fourth-round run at Indian Wells back in March, is still within reach. She earned $13,000 from her first-round exit. Had she won that match against Fernandez, the projection had her jumping to 38th in the world. Madrid starts April 21st. The French Open follows on May 24th. Clay is going to define her season, and she knows it. The Linz Open exit the week before Stuttgart, where she lost to Ostapenko after leading in both sets, is a pattern she'll need to break. But here's the thing about what Stuttgart actually revealed. Results and rankings are the currency most players use to buy attention. Deep runs, titles, big wins on big stages. That's how visibility works in professional tennis. Alex is doing something that sits outside that framework. She arrived in Stuttgart as a replacement. She lost in the first round. She collected one ranking point. She left as the player the entire Porsche Village was chasing for a signature. The last time a player generated this kind of gravitational pull at tournaments, she was technically too young and too low-ranked to headline, was someone who went on to win 23 Grand Slam titles. That comparison might be too early. Probably is. Alex herself would likely push back hard on it. But something is happening here that the people closest to professional tennis keep noticing out loud. Djokovic in Melbourne, Anisimova in Dubai, the Australian Open organizers who got publicly embarrassed over a court assignment, and now Leylah Fernandez in Stuttgart, a player who just beat Alex convincingly and walked away from the match looking like the one who'd been left speechless. Winning against Alex apparently doesn't feel like enough anymore for the person doing the winning. That is a very specific and very rare kind of power. It has nothing to do with the score, and it is building.